Picture this. A storm rages across a jagged coastline, waves crashing with unrelenting fury, winds howling like a chorus of doubts. Amidst the chaos, a lighthouse stands, unshaken, unyielding, its beam cutting through the darkness. That lighthouse is you, or at least it can be. Right now, though, you're caught in the tempest of external noise, drowning in the voices of others, the likes, the comparisons, the endless scroll of opinions that pull you from your own path. You felt it, haven't you? That gnawing sense of inadequacy when you measure your worth by someone else's highlight reel. This is the chaos of external noise, the storm that threatens to dim your inner light. But here's the truth within the broader journey of focusing on yourself and staying silent. When you anchor yourself against the clamor, when you turn inward and stand firm, everything begins to fall into place. Let's step into this storm together. Let's uncover why seeking validation and chasing comparison steals your power, and how to reclaim it. Imagine yourself as a young artist, brush in hand, heart brimming with ideas that feel like wildfire. You've always painted for the sheer joy of it, colors bleeding into shapes that speak your soul's language. But then, you post your work online, hungry for feedback. A few likes trickle in, and a rush of validation surges through you. Soon, it's not enough. You refresh the screen obsessively, counting hearts, reading comments like they're gospel. Not as good as hers, someone types. Too abstract, another chimes. The wildfire in you dims. You start painting what you think they want. Trending styles, safe palettes, cookie-cutter designs. Your unique voice, the one that once roared through every stroke, fades into a whisper. Months pass, and you barely recognize your own canvas. You've lost yourself in the noise, chasing approval instead of creation. One day, you stumble upon an old sketchbook, pages filled with the raw, unpolished art you once made for no one but yourself. A pang of longing hits. You remember the freedom, the quiet power of creating without an audience. That's when it dawns on you. The storm of external validation was never about your art. It was about your need to be seen. Like a lighthouse battered by waves, you'd let the opinions of others tilt your foundation. But what if you'd stayed silent? What if you'd focused inward, painting only for the flame within? The lesson is clear. The world's applause can't define your worth. Only you can. By turning away from the noise, by standing firm in your own vision, you begin to rebuild your unique light. Now picture yourself as a driven professional, climbing the ladder of your career with grit and ambition. You've got goals, a vision for where you're headed. But at a reunion, you hear a peer casually mention their promotion, their flashy title, their corner office. Suddenly, your steady progress feels like a crawl. You scroll through their polished profiles online, vacations, awards, perfect lives. Doubt creeps in like fog over the sea. I'm behind, you tell yourself. I'm not enough. You pivot, abandoning your own path to chase theirs. You take on projects that don't align with your strengths, apply for roles you don't even want, all to keep up. Exhaustion sets in. Your passion erodes. You're running a race you never signed up for, lost in comparison's endless maze. Then, a moment of clarity strikes. Maybe it's a quiet evening alone, or a mentor's offhand remark. Why are you measuring your journey by someone else's map? You pause. You see it. The storm of comparison has swept you off course. Like a lighthouse swaying in the gale, you've let external benchmarks dim your own guiding beam. What if you'd stayed silent, focused on your own harbor instead of chasing shadows? The truth hits hard. Your path is yours alone, and no one else's timeline can dictate your pace. By anchoring yourself, by ignoring the noise of shoulds and musts, you rediscover your direction. Standing firm, you realize your worth isn't in outshining others. It's in illuminating your own way forward. Let's dive deeper into this chaos of external noise. Think about it. How often have you let the opinions of others become the compass of your life? You're not just swayed by a comment or a comparison, you're pulled under, dragged into a current of self-doubt that erases your clarity. This is the storm, relentless and loud, where every wave is a judgment, every gust a metric of not enough. Social media amplifies it, turning casual glances into obsessive scorecards. A friend's success becomes your failure. A stranger's approval becomes your lifeline. But here's the piercing truth. That noise isn't reality. It's a mirage, a distortion of your worth. Like a lighthouse in the tempest, your true strength lies not in bending to the wind, but in standing resolute, shining for yourself alone. Consider the energy you've spent seeking validation. How many dreams have you reshaped to fit someone else's mold? How many quiet victories have you overlooked because they didn't earn a cheer? The external noise is a thief, stealing your focus, your peace, your authenticity, but you're not powerless. Imagine yourself as that lighthouse, rooted deep into the rock of your own values. The storm rages, yes, but it cannot topple you unless you let it. When you turn inward, when you silence the clamor and listen to your own steady pulse, you find a truth no one can take. Your light is enough. It always has been. Focus on that inner beam and watch how the chaos begins to lose its grip. Let's unravel another layer. Comparison is not just a fleeting thought, it's a sinking anchor, dragging you beneath the surface of your potential. You see someone else's polished life, their curated wins, and suddenly your own journey feels like a ship adrift. Why do you do this to yourself? Why do you measure your raw, unfinished chapters against someone else's polished finale? The noise of comparison tells you there's a race, a hierarchy, a finish line you're failing to reach. But life isn't a competition. It's a solitary voyage, and your vessel is built for your waters alone. That lighthouse on the shore doesn't envy another's height or brighter beam. It stands for its own purpose, guiding its own ships to safety. Think of comparison as a storm cloud, heavy and dark, obscuring your view of the horizon. It tricks you into believing you're less, that you must rush or mimic to matter. But strip away that cloud, and what remains? Just you, your skills, your grit, your unique path winding through the sea of possibility. When you focus on yourself, when you stay silent against the urge to weigh your worth against others, you lift that anchor, you sail free. Your lighthouse doesn't need to outshine another's. It needs only to shine true. Let that be your revelation. The moment you stop looking sideways, the moment you anchor inward, is the moment your journey gains its rightful momentum. Now, let's get practical. The external noise often starts with a screen. Those endless feeds that bait you into comparison and craving validation. You know the pull. One swipe, and you're lost in a spiral of not enough. Here's how to break free. First, set a boundary. Limit your time on social platforms to a specific window. Say 20 minutes a day. Use a timer if you must. When that buzzer sounds, close the app. No exceptions. Second, curate your digital space. Unfollow accounts that spark envy or doubt, even if they're friends. Replace them with voices that inspire without comparison. Think creators who share process over perfection. Third, redirect your focus. When the urge to scroll hits, grab a notebook. Write one thing you're proud of today, no matter how small. Let that be your validation. This isn't about cutting off the world. It's about reclaiming your headspace. Each time you resist the noise, you're choosing to stand like that lighthouse, unmoved by the storm. Notice how silence feels. Notice how your inner voice grows clearer when the chatter fades. If doubt creeps in, pause. Ask yourself, am I seeking approval or am I seeking growth? The answer will guide you back to your own beam. Practice this daily and watch how the chaos of external validation loses its hold. Your light doesn't need 1,000 likes to shine. It needs only your belief to burn bright. Comparison is a trap, but you can't escape it by defining your own measures of success. Stop using someone else's yardstick. Start today with this. Sit down and list 3 core values that drive you. Maybe integrity, creativity, persistence. Write them where you'll see them daily. Next, set personal benchmarks tied to those values, not to external status. If creativity matters, measure success by completing a project, not by outdoing a peer. If persistence is your anchor, track how many days you show up, not how fast you climb. Review these weekly, celebrate the steps, not the spotlight. When comparison sneaks in, and it will, halt, breathe. Look at your list. Remind yourself, this is my harbor, not theirs. Visualize yourself as that lighthouse, standing firm while waves of shoulds crash and recede. Their storm isn't your story. If you catch yourself envying another's path, shift focus. Write one action you can take today to honor your own. Maybe it's learning a skill, resting to recharge, or simply showing up. This rewires your mind to prioritize your journey. Over time, the noise of others' achievements becomes just that, noise. Your metrics, your values, your light, they become the only compass you need. Stand in that truth and feel the chaos dissolve. As we step back from the storm of external noise, let's anchor in what we've uncovered. Seeking validation and chasing comparison are thieves, stealing your focus, dimming your unique light with every glance outward. You've seen it in the artist who lost their wildfire to likes, in the professional who drifted from their path chasing shadows. You felt it in your own life, the pull to be seen, to keep up, to prove. But the truth, hard-won and unshakable, is this. Your worth isn't in the applause of others or the race against them. It's in the quiet strength of focusing inward, of standing like a lighthouse against the gale. When you silence the clamor, when you root yourself in your own purpose, everything begins to align. This is just the beginning of our journey. Ahead, we'll explore how to cultivate that inner focus, how to build silence into a fortress of power. For now, hold this lesson close. The chaos of external noise cannot drown you unless you let it. You are the lighthouse, steadfast in the storm, shining for no one's approval but your own. Let this be your guiding chant as we move forward, a reminder of your unyielding strength. Stand firm. Your light is your own to shine. Picture a solitary tree on a windswept hill, standing tall against the relentless gales. Its roots dig deep into the earth, unseen, uncelebrated, yet they are the source of its unyielding strength. You are that tree, in a world screaming for your attention, pulling you in 1,000 directions. The power lies in turning inward. When you focus on yourself and stay silent, everything falls into place. This isn't about isolation, it's about intention. It's about carving out the space to hear your own voice above the noise, to nurture your core before the world can claim your energy. In this moment, right now, can you feel the pull to root deeper? This section, the power of turning inward, will guide you through the sacred act of self-focus as the bedrock of clarity and purpose. Let's step away from the clamor together. Let's plant ourselves in solitude and grow. Imagine yourself as a young student, caught in the whirlwind of a bustling campus. Everyone around you is chasing the same path, popular majors, trendy internships, the loudest voices dictating what success should look like. You feel the pressure, the weight of groupthink pressing down on your shoulders. Every conversation is a chorus of, "You should do this," or "This is the only way." But something inside you stirs, a whisper of doubt, a flicker of curiosity. What if there's more? What if your path isn't theirs? One day you make a choice. You step away. You stop joining every study group, every debate, every trend. Instead, you find a quiet corner in the library, a space where the world's noise can't reach you. You sit with your thoughts, your books, your questions. At first, it feels strange, even lonely. Friends text, asking where you are. Doubt creeps in. Am I falling behind? but you persist. You dive into subjects that ignite something in you, ones no one else seems to care about. Maybe it's poetry when everyone else is chasing finance, or philosophy when the talk is all tech. Hour by hour, day by day, you uncover a passion you didn't know you had. The fog lifts, your purpose sharpens. You're no longer just following, you're forging. Like a tree growing in solitude, your roots stretch deeper in the silence. Away from the crowd's shallow soil, you find nourishment in your own truth. The lesson here is clear. When you turn inward, when you dare to stand alone, you discover what truly drives you. Clarity isn't found in the chatter of others. It's unearthed in the quiet of your own mind. And with that clarity comes a purpose so strong, the world's noise can't shake it. Now picture yourself as an athlete, standing on the edge of a field at dawn, the air biting at your skin. You've heard the critics, coaches, teammates, even strangers online. You're not fast enough, they say. You'll never make it. Their words sting like gravel underfoot, and for a while, you let them define your limits. You train with the pack, matching their pace, listening to their doubts, absorbing their fears as your own. But something shifts. You're tired of the echoes. You crave silence. So, you break away. You start training alone, rising before the sun, running through empty streets while the world sleeps. No cheers, no jeers, just the rhythm of your breath, the thud of your feet, the burn in your muscles. In this solitude, you confront your weaknesses head on. You push past the pain because there's no one to impress, no one to prove wrong but yourself. And in that raw, quiet space, you unlock something new, a gear you didn't know you had, a strength forged in the absence of distraction. Your times improve, your focus sharpens. When you return to the field, the critics fall silent. They see the results of your unspoken grind. Like a tree on a barren hill, you've grown stronger in isolation, your roots gripping the earth with quiet defiance. The takeaway is undeniable. Turning inward isn't running away. It's running toward your potential. Silence isn't weakness. It's the forge where your greatest power is shaped. When you focus on yourself, ignoring the noise, everything, every step, every victory falls into place. Let's pause here and dig deeper. Think of yourself as that solitary tree, standing on a hill where no other dares to grow. Above the ground, the world sees only your trunk, your branches, maybe a few leaves trembling in the wind. But the real story, the source of your strength, lies beneath, where roots twist and stretch, unseen, into the hard earth. Self-focus is like those roots. It's not flashy. It's not something you post about or shout from the rooftops. It's the quiet, deliberate work of knowing who you are when no one's watching. Why do so many of us fear this silence? Why do we rush to fill every moment with noise, with validation, with distraction? The truth is, turning inward is the foundation of clarity. When you strip away the external, opinions, expectations, trends, you're left with the raw material of your soul. In that space, you ask the hard questions. What do I truly want? What am I willing to sacrifice? Like a tree in solitude, you don't grow tall by stretching toward every passing breeze. You grow by anchoring yourself, by seeking sustenance from within. This isn't selfishness, it's survival. It's the understanding that you can't pour into others if your well is dry. So, I ask you now, when was the last time you sat with yourself, truly sat, without a screen or a voice to drown out your thoughts? The answers you seek are there, waiting in the quiet. Turn inward. Let your roots find their depth. Consider this. A storm rages across the land, tearing at everything in its path. Leaves scatter, branches snap, and weaker trees topple under the weight of the wind. But there, on the hill, stands our solitary tree, unshaken. How? Because its strength isn't in its outward show, but in its inward resolve. Its roots, nurtured in silence, hold firm. Life, too, is a storm. Criticism, failure, doubt. they howl around you, threatening to uproot your dreams. Yet when you focus on yourself, when you cultivate stillness amid the chaos, you become unbreakable. Turning inward isn't about ignoring the world. It's about grounding yourself so the world can't knock you down. In solitude, you build a sanctuary of clarity, a place where purpose isn't swayed by every gust of opinion. Think about it. How often have you let the storm of others' words dictate your direction? How many times have you abandoned your path because the noise was louder than your resolve? The power of silence is that it lets you hear your own compass. Like a river carving through stone, your focus shapes your future, steady and unhurried. Embrace the stillness. Let the storm rage. Your roots are deeper than it knows. Now, let's turn this philosophy into action. If you want to harness the power of turning inward, start by creating your own space of silence. This isn't just about physical quiet, though that helps. It's about mental stillness. Begin with this. Set aside 10 minutes each day. No distractions, no phone, no notifications, no voices. Find a corner of your home, a park bench, even the edge of your bed. Sit there, breathe. Let your thoughts wander, but don't chase them. If doubts or worries creep in, acknowledge them. Then let them pass like clouds across the sky. In this space, ask yourself one question. What do I need today to move closer to my truth? Write down the first thing that comes to mind. No overthinking. Maybe it's a skill to practice, a fear to face, or a boundary to set. Then take one small step toward it before the day ends. This daily ritual is your root deepening. It's how you turn inward, how you build clarity brick by silent brick. When the world pulls at you, and it will, return to this space. Protect it. It's your hill, your soil, your strength. Here's another tool to anchor yourself. Learn to filter the noise. The world is loud. Opinions, advice, criticism, trends. They'll drown you if you let them. So, when you feel overwhelmed, pause, take a deep breath and ask, does this align with my purpose? If the answer is no, let it go. This could mean saying no to a social event that drains you, unfollowing accounts that spark comparison, or simply walking away from a conversation that pulls you off course. Replace that noise with intention. Curate what you consume. Books, podcasts, even people. Surround yourself with input that fuels your growth, not your doubt. And when you can't escape the clamor, retreat inward. Visualize yourself as that tree on the hill, rooted beyond reach. Remind yourself, I don't need to react. I don't need to respond. I choose my focus. This filtering isn't easy at first. It feels like swimming against a current, but with practice, it becomes your shield. Silence isn't just the absence of sound. It's the presence of power. As we close this chapter on the power of turning inward, reflect on the journey we've walked. You've seen how a student, lost in the crowd, found their passion by stepping into solitude. You've witnessed an athlete transform doubt into strength by training in silence. You've pondered the unseen roots of a tree, growing in quiet defiance, and you've armed yourself with tools to carve your own stillness. The key lesson here is this: self-focus is not a luxury, it's your foundation. When you turn inward, when you prioritize your growth over the world's noise, clarity emerges, purpose solidifies, everything falls into place. Now carry this truth with you as we prepare to explore the next step, how silence becomes your greatest ally in action. Remember, growth isn't loud, it's steady, deep, and often unseen. Stand firm on your hill. Let your roots deepen in the quiet. Stand tall, your solitude is your strength. Picture a blacksmith forge at dawn, the world still cloaked in shadow. The air is heavy with the scent of iron and ash, and there you stand, hammer in hand, staring at a dull, unformed blade. The noise of the world, opinions, distractions, doubts, threatens to drown your focus. But you choose silence. You strike with purpose, each blow deliberate, Each pause a moment of clarity. In that quiet, the blade sharpens, transforming into a weapon of unmatched strength. This is the discipline of silence, the sacred art of turning inward, of honing yourself when no one is watching, within the broader journey of focusing on yourself and staying silent to let everything fall into place. This section unveils a profound truth. Silence is not emptiness. It's the forge where your greatest work is born. Feel the weight of this moment, for it's in the quiet that you'll find your edge. Are you ready to embrace the stillness and craft your masterpiece? Imagine yourself as a writer, burning with ideas that spill onto the page like wildfire. Every thought feels urgent, every sentence a revelation. You can't help but share your drafts, posting snippets online, seeking validation from friends, craving the rush of praise. But the feedback stings. It's not ready, they say. It lacks depth. Their words echo, and doubt creeps in. Your passion dims under the weight of scrutiny, and the story you dreamed of telling begins to fray at the edges. You've scattered your energy, diluted your vision by speaking too soon. Then, something shifts. You decide to step back, to guard your work like a treasure not yet unearthed. You close the laptop, silence the notifications, and commit to the quiet. Days turn to weeks, and in that stillness, you wrestle with every word, every idea. You don't just write, you refine. You don't just create, you carve. Like a blacksmith at the anvil, you strike and shape, letting the sparks of doubt burn away in the silence. No one sees the late nights, the crumpled pages, the quiet victories over self-doubt. But you feel it, the blade of your story growing sharper with each unspoken revision. Months later, you unveil your work, a novel so polished it cuts through the noise of the world. Readers are captivated, not by a fleeting idea, but by a masterpiece forged in solitude. The lesson burns bright. Silence was your forge. By holding back, by refusing to let the world interrupt your process, you crafted something enduring. You didn't just write a book. You became a creator of unshakable focus. The discipline of silence taught you that true brilliance is born not in the clamor of approval, but in the quiet of deliberate craft. How often have you dulled your own blade by speaking too soon? Now, see yourself as a business owner, brimming with ambition to launch a venture that could change lives. Your idea, a sustainable product line, feels revolutionary, and the temptation to announce it to the world is overwhelming. You imagine the social media buzz, the early investors, the instant recognition. You draft press releases, hint at big plans and conversations, and let the excitement spill over. But the reality bites hard. Suppliers fall through, prototypes fail, and your half-formed vision crumbles under the weight of premature promises. The noise of expectation drowns your focus, and you're left scrambling to salvage what's left. In the aftermath, you choose a different path. You embrace the discipline of silence. No more announcements, no more hype. You work in the shadows, researching markets, perfecting designs, building a foundation as solid as tempered steel. Like the blacksmith who sharpens a blade without fanfare, you pour your energy into the unseen. Late-night calculations, quiet negotiations, countless revisions. The world doesn't hear your struggle, doesn't see the setbacks, but you feel the blade of your vision taking shape with every silent step. When you finally launch, it's not with a whisper, but a thunderclap. Your product is flawless, your strategy airtight, and the market responds with awe. Customers don't just buy, they believe in what you've built. The silence wasn't a retreat, it was a deliberate act of creation. You learn that announcing too soon dulls your edge, but working quietly hones it to perfection. The takeaway is clear. Silence builds strength. By staying quiet, you let your actions speak louder than any premature promise ever could. What foundations are you rushing to reveal before they're ready? Let's step deeper into the heart of silence, where its true power lies. Silence is not the absence of sound. It's the presence of purpose. It's the blacksmith's pause before the hammer falls, the moment of clarity that shapes raw iron into a blade of destiny. In a world that screams for attention, where every thought must be shared and every step broadcast, silence feels like rebellion. But it's more than that. It's your greatest ally. When you focus on yourself and stay silent, you create a space where reflection becomes your guide and deliberate action your weapon. Why do we fear the quiet? Is it because it forces us to face the raw, unpolished parts of ourselves? Think of silence as the forge where your dreams are tempered. Every doubt, every distraction, is a spark that flies from the anvil as you strike. The noise of the world, opinions, trends, endless chatter, cannot penetrate the sacred space here in the stillness. You hear your own voice, the one that knows your true path. You don't react to every passing storm. You stand firm, shaping your purpose with intention. Silence teaches patience, the kind that transforms a fleeting idea into a lasting legacy. It's not about hiding. It's about protecting what matters until it's strong enough to stand on its own. How many visions have you lost to the noise when silence could have saved them? Consider the river that carves a canyon over centuries. It doesn't roar with every bend. It flows quietly, relentlessly, until mountains yield to its will. So too must you embrace silence as your current, letting it guide you through obstacles without fanfare. In the quiet, you find the strength to endure, to refine, to create. The discipline of silence is not passive, it's active, deliberate, a choice to forge yourself into something unbreakable. Remember this, the world may demand your voice, but your power grows in the spaces where you choose not to speak. Dive further into the philosophy of unspoken resolve, for silence is not just a tool, it's a mindset. Picture yourself as that blacksmith, standing before a blade that's still rough, still untested. Every urge to show it off, to prove your worth, is a hammer blow that could shatter the work. But you resist. You understand that true strength is built in the unseen hours, in the quiet repetition of effort no one applauds. Silence becomes your shield, guarding your progress from the erosion of doubt and distraction. When you focus on yourself and stay silent, everything falls into place because you've chosen to prioritize the work over the noise. This discipline is a rebellion against a world obsessed with immediacy. We're taught to share, to shout, to seek validation at every turn. But what if the greatest victories are those no one sees until they're complete? What if the quiet is where your soul sharpens, where your resolve becomes a blade no challenge can dull? Silence is your sanctuary, a place where you can strip away the superficial and face the raw truth of who you are becoming. It's not comfortable, it's confronting, yet in that discomfort, you find clarity. You don't need to announce your intentions, you need to live them, day by day, strike by strike, until the work speaks for itself. Think of silence as the soil where a seed takes root. Above ground, there's nothing to show, no bloom, no glory. But beneath, in the dark and quiet, a transformation unfolds. Roots deepen, strength builds, and when the time is right, the seed breaks through, unstoppable. So it is with you. Embrace the unseen growth, the quiet forging of your spirit. Let the world wait. Your time will come, and when it does, the blade you've sharpened in silence will cut through every barrier. Trust the process, trust the quiet. Now let's turn philosophy into action. For silence is not just a concept, it's a practice. When the world pulls you to speak, to react, to overshare, here's how you anchor yourself in the discipline of quiet focus. First, carve out a daily space of stillness. It could be 10 minutes at dawn, before the day's chaos begins. Sit with yourself. No phone, no noise, just you and your thoughts. Ask, what am I building today? Let the answer guide your actions without the need to announce it. This is your forge, where the first strikes of intention are made. Second, guard your plans like a blacksmith guards a blade in progress. When a new idea or goal sparks, resist the urge to share it. Write it down instead, in a private journal or note. Break it into small, actionable steps, and commit to one each day. If doubt creeps in, pause. Reflect in silence. Why did I start this? Let the answer fuel you, not the opinions of others. This quiet resolve keeps your energy focused, sharpening your vision without distraction. Finally, and when pressure mounts to speak or react, whether it's criticism, drama, or the lure of instant gratification, step back, take a breath. Ask yourself, will speaking now strengthen my work or scatter my focus? 9 times out of 10, silence will be the stronger choice. Use that moment to redirect your energy into action, not words. Strike the anvil, not the air. These steps aren't grand, they're deliberate. They build the habit of quiet power, ensuring that when you do speak, your words carry the weight of a blade forged in solitude. Beyond daily habits, let's arm you with tools to deepen your mastery of silence. Start with a reflection ritual. At the end of each week, set aside 30 minutes to review your progress in solitude. Use a notebook to answer 3 questions. What did I accomplish without fanfare? Where did I let noise derail me? How can I sharpen my focus next week? Be honest. This isn't about judgment. It's about honing your edge. The act of writing in silence forces clarity, stripping away excuses and revealing your true path. Next, create boundaries around your creative or strategic work. If you're building a project, learning a skill, or chasing a dream, designate a silent zone, a time or space where interruptions are forbidden. Tell no one unless it's essential. Protect this zone as fiercely as a blacksmith guards the forge. If you must communicate, keep it minimal and purposeful. This isn't isolation, it's intention. You're preserving your energy for the work that matters most. Lastly, when temptation strikes to overshare, whether it's a social media post or a casual boast, use a mental checkpoint. Pause and visualize the blacksmith at work. Ask, is this blade ready to be shown, or does it need more strikes? If it's the latter, redirect that urge into action. Pour it into the next step, the next refinement. These tools anchor you in silence, turning it from a fleeting choice into a way of being. They ensure that when you focus on yourself and stay silent, everything, every piece, falls into place with precision. As we close this exploration of the discipline of silence, let the lessons settle deep within you. You've walked with the writer who crafted a masterpiece in solitude, and the business owner who built a foundation in quiet strength. You've seen silence not as a void, but as a forge, where reflection sharpens your mind and deliberate action hones your purpose. The key takeaway is this: silence is your greatest tool for transformation. When you focus on yourself and stay silent, you create the space for everything to align, for your work to emerge as a blade of unstoppable force. The noise of the world will always beckon, but you now know the power of resisting it, of striking in solitude until your creation is ready to cut through every obstacle. Let this truth guide you as we move forward on this journey. The path ahead will test your resolve, but you carry the discipline of silence as your shield. Embrace the quiet, trust the process, and remember that the greatest victories are forged away from the spotlight. Stand at your anvil, hammer in hand, and shape your destiny with every unspoken strike. The world will see your brilliance soon enough, but for now, let silence be your strength. Forge in silence, your blade will speak for itself. Picture a river, its surface a mirror of calm, reflecting the sky's endless expanse. You stand at its edge, seeing only stillness, unaware of the relentless current carving paths through stone beneath. Isn't that how your own progress often feels? You toil in silence, focusing on yourself, and the world seems oblivious to your struggle. But beneath the surface, unseen forces are at work, shaping your future with every quiet step. In this journey of self-focus and silence, you must trust the flow of unseen progress. True transformation doesn't shout, It whispers. It doesn't demand applause. It builds in the shadows. Welcome to the flow of unseen progress, a chapter in your story of becoming, where you learn that when you focus on yourself and stay silent, everything falls into place. Feel the current within you. It's moving, even when you can't see it. Are you ready to trust what lies beneath? Imagine a single parent, let's call her Maya, rising before dawn in a small, cluttered apartment. Her hands tremble with exhaustion as she packs lunches, men's clothes, and whispers encouragement to her sleeping children. But her real work happens in the quiet hours, after the kids are in bed, when she pores over books on personal growth, scribbles goals in a worn notebook, and meditates to tame her doubts. No one sees this. Her neighbors gossip about her stubborn solitude. Her family questions why she doesn't seek help. Why isolate yourself, Maya? They ask. She smiles, stays silent, and keeps forging herself. Her battle isn't just for survival, it's for a vision, a life where her children see strength, not struggle. Years pass. The surface of her life seems unchanged to outsiders. Same apartment, same tired eyes. But beneath, a current has been flowing. Maya's discipline transforms her. She earns a certification through late-night study, lands a better job, and builds a savings account no one knew she had. More than that, her inner calm becomes a shield. Arguments that once broke her now dissolve against her resolve. One day, her teenage daughter, who once resented Maya's quiet distance, says, "Mom, I see how hard you fought for us. I want to be like you." That moment is the river breaking through stone, a family thriving not because of loud victories, but because Maya focused on herself in silence, like a river's hidden current. Her progress was invisible until it reshaped everything. What silent battles are you fighting that will one day bloom into triumph? Now picture a man named Elias, hunched over a cluttered workbench in a dim basement. He's an inventor, though no one calls him that. To his friends, he's a dreamer wasting time on pointless gadgets. To his family, he's a mystery, always tinkering instead of socializing. Elias doesn't argue or explain. He stays silent, focused on circuits and sketches, driven by a vision only he can see, a device to purify water for remote villages. Rejections pile up from investors. Prototypes fail in showers of sparks. Years drag on, and doubt gnaws at him. "Am I a fool?" he whispers to the empty room. Yet he keeps going, trusting the unseen progress of each failed experiment, each lesson etched in calloused hands. Decades later, long after many would have quit, Elias unveils his invention. It's small, affordable, and revolutionary. Villages once plagued by disease now have clean water. His name spreads, but the world never sees the basement, the sleepless nights, the silent focus that birthed this miracle. His progress was a river beneath a still surface, cutting through obstacles no one witnessed until the floodgates open. Elias teaches us that when you focus on yourself, your craft, your vision, and stay silent amidst the noise of doubt, the results speak louder than any defense ever could. How many times have you stopped just before your river broke through? Let's pause and reflect. You live in a world obsessed with the surface, likes, accolades, instant results, but real progress, the kind that lasts, doesn't parade itself. It's the river beneath, relentless and quiet, eroding barriers over time. Think of your own life. How often have you felt stuck, as if nothing is changing, only to look back and see how far you've come? That's the unseen current at work. When you focus on yourself, sharpening your mind, healing old wounds, building small habits, you're not stagnant. You're flowing, even if the world can't see it. Pain, doubt, and obscurity aren't your enemies. They're the stones your river carves through. They shape you, if you let them. Consider a seed buried in soil. To the world above, it's nothing, just dirt. But beneath, roots stretch, unseen, drawing strength until the day a sprout pierces the earth. Your silent focus is that seed. Every moment you choose growth over distraction, every time you resist the urge to prove yourself to others, you're rooting deeper. Why do you crave recognition when the river doesn't announce its path? Why fear obscurity when it's the crucible of true power? Trust the process. Your progress is happening even now in ways you cannot yet see. Let's go deeper. Progress isn't just unseen, it's often misunderstood. When you stay silent and focus on yourself, the world may label you selfish, distant, or lost. But you're not building for their gaze. You're crafting a cathedral of self, brick by unseen brick. Think of the ancient builders who laid foundations for structures they'd never see complete. Their work was silent, uncelebrated in their lifetime. Yet it stands centuries later as a testament to unseen progress. Your life is that cathedral. Each choice to prioritize your growth, whether it's learning a skill, mending your spirit, or simply resting to recharge, is a stone laid in darkness, waiting for the day your masterpiece is revealed. This isn't about ignoring others. It's about knowing that to give your best, you must first become your best. Silence isn't withdrawal, it's strategy. It's the space where your river gains strength, where distractions drown before they reach you. Have you ever noticed how the loudest voices often hide the weakest foundations? Meanwhile, your quiet focus builds something unshakable. So, embrace the shadows. Let the world misjudge your stillness. Beneath the surface, your current is unstoppable, and in time it will carve valleys others can only marvel at. Now, let's ground this in action. Trusting unseen progress starts with small, deliberate choices. First, create a daily ritual of silence. Set aside 10 minutes each morning or night to sit with yourself. No phone, no noise, just you. Reflect on one thing you've improved, however small. Maybe you held your temper today, or read a page of a book. Write it down. This isn't for show. It's for you to see the current moving beneath your surface. When doubt creeps in, read these notes. They're proof of your flow. Second, stop measuring progress by external markers. The world will judge you by titles, money, or applause, but those are ripples on the surface. Instead, ask, am I stronger today than yesterday? Did I take one step, however tiny, toward my vision? If the answer is yes, trust that the river is flowing. When you feel invisible, remember Maya and Elias. Their progress wasn't seen until it was undeniable. Yours won't be either. So, keep carving your path. Pause before seeking validation. Ask yourself, is my work enough for me today? That's the only question that matters. Another tool for this journey is to reframe obscurity as your ally. When no one notices your effort, you're free from pressure, free to experiment, free to fail. Use this. Each week, set one private goal, something only you know about. Maybe it's running an extra mile, writing a page of your story, or facing a fear. Don't tell anyone. Let the act itself be your reward. This trains you to find strength in the unseen, to rely on your own current rather than the world's applause. When frustration hits, and it will, breathe. Picture that river beneath the still surface. Remind yourself, I'm moving. Even if I can't see it, then take the next step. That's how you build resilience, silently, steadily, until the world can't ignore what you've become. As we close this chapter of the flow of unseen progress, remember this: true transformation doesn't need a spotlight. It thrives beneath the surface, in the quiet hours when you focus on yourself and stay silent. Maya's family flourished not because she shouted her struggle, but because she carved her strength in solitude. Elias changed lives not by proving himself early, but by trusting the unseen current of his persistence. Your progress, too, is flowing right now. Even if the world can't see it, trust that when you pour into yourself, your skills, your spirit, your vision, everything falls into place. The river doesn't rush, it endures. So must you. As we move forward, prepare to explore how this silent focus becomes your loudest victory, how the current beneath builds a force no obstacle can withstand. For now, hold this truth close and let it guide every step. Flow unseen, your current carves the future. Picture a mountain, ancient and unyielding, standing tall against the endless winds that howl and rage around it. The gusts tear at its surface, yet it remains rooted, silent, a monument to patience and strength. You are that mountain. Life's storms have battered you with doubt, distraction, and the clamor of others' expectations. But when you focus on yourself, when you stay silent amidst the chaos, something profound happens. Everything begins to align. In this moment, as we explore the harmony of alignment, you'll witness how turning inward and embracing stillness brings every fractured piece of your life into a natural, effortless balance. Feel the ground beneath you steady. Sense the winds of urgency fade. You're here to uncover a truth within the broader journey of when you focus on yourself and stay silent, everything falls into place. Are you ready to stand firm, to let harmony find you? Imagine yourself as a young professional, burning with ambition but shackled by the need for validation. Every decision you made was a plea for applause, choosing a career path because it impressed others, speaking when silence would have served you better, stretching yourself thin to be seen as enough. You were a ship tossed by every wave of opinion, never steering by your own stars. The exhaustion was relentless. One day, after yet another rejection for a role you didn't even want, you stopped. You sat alone in your small apartment, the world's noise fading, and asked yourself, who am I without their nods? That question was a crack in the dam. You began to focus inward, journaling your true desires, ignoring the chatter of comparison. Silence became your sanctuary. You pursued a quieter path, a freelance project that lit a spark in your chest. Not because it dazzled others, but because it felt right. Months passed, and without fanfare, opportunities emerged. Clients sought you out. Your work spoke for itself, like a mountain enduring endless winds. You stood firm in your truth, and the world adjusted around you. The lesson was clear. When you anchor yourself in your own vision, harmony weaves itself into every corner of your life. Approval is no longer your compass. Your inner voice is. This story mirrors your own, doesn't it? How often have you bent to the will of others, only to feel more lost? The conflict of chasing external praise within the theme of focusing on yourself and staying silent is a universal ache. Yet, as you saw, turning inward, becoming that unmovable mountain, brings balance. Success, peace, and purpose align not when you shout for attention, but when you quietly follow your path. This ties to our takeaway. Harmony is not forced. It blooms when you stand steady in your own silence. Now, see yourself as someone who has lost everything, a job, a relationship, a sense of self. The ground beneath you crumbled, leaving you in a rubble of grief and uncertainty. You used to be the one with answers, the one others leaned on. But now every mirror reflected a stranger. The world urged you to move on loudly, to fill the void with noise, new distractions, empty promises, but you couldn't. Instead, you retreated into silence, not out of defeat, but out of necessity. You started small, almost invisibly. Each morning, you made your bed, a tiny act of order in the chaos. You walked alone, letting the rhythm of your steps quiet your mind. You focused on yourself, not on rebuilding the old life, but on discovering who you were now. You took a low-paying job that gave you space to think, planted seeds of new habits, and let time do its work. Slowly, without announcement, life began to reassemble. A friend noticed your calm and offered a connection. A skill you nurtured in solitude became a source of income, like a mountain enduring endless winds. You withstood the storm of loss by rooting yourself in small, meaningful steps. The balance came not from grand gestures, but from quiet persistence. Harmony found you when you stopped forcing it, This tale of rebuilding resonates because loss is a shared human wound. Within our theme, the conflict lies in resisting the urge to rush recovery with noise and instead embracing silence to heal. The mountain teaches us that enduring quietly allows life to realign. As our takeaway suggests, harmony emerges naturally when you focus inward and let silence guide your steps. Let's pause and reflect. What does it mean to witness harmony in your life? It's not the absence of struggle, but the presence of alignment, a sense that every piece, even the jagged ones, fits into a greater design. When you focus on yourself and stay silent, you stop wrestling with the winds of external demands. You become the mountain, enduring and unmoved, while the chaos swirls around you. Think of a river carving through stone, not by force, but by patient persistence. Your silence is that river. It doesn't shout its intent, it simply flows, shaping the landscape of your life over time. Harmony is not a destination you chase, it's a state you allow. How many times have you fought for balance, only to feel more unsteady? What if the answer was never in the struggle, but in the surrender to your inner quiet? When you root yourself in self-focus, when you let go of the need to explain or prove, everything, relationships, goals, peace, falls into place. The mountain doesn't bend to the wind. It stands and the wind learns to move around it. So must you. Alignment is your birthright, claimed not by noise but by stillness. Consider this. Solitude is not loneliness, it is power. In a world that equates silence with weakness, choosing to focus on yourself is an act of rebellion. You are not hiding, you are fortifying. Like a mountain enduring endless winds. Your silence is not passivity, it's resilience. Every time you step away from the clamor to listen to your own heart, you rebuild the foundation of your life. Picture a seed buried deep in the earth. It doesn't clamor for the sun, it waits, silent, drawing strength from within until it's ready to break through. You are that seed. The noise of the world, opinions, urgency, comparison can't nourish you. Only your inner focus can. Have you ever noticed how the loudest voices in your life often lead you astray? Why do we fear the quiet when it holds our truest answers? Harmony comes when you trust that solitude is not isolation, but preparation. In silence, you align with your purpose. In self-focus, you forge a life that doesn't need to be shouted about. It simply is. Stand tall, let the winds rage. Your balance is inevitable. Now, let's ground this in action. Harmony begins with deliberate steps, small but powerful. When the world pulls you in 1,000 directions, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, what does my inner voice need right now? Write down one thing, just one, that aligns with your true self, not with others' expectations. Maybe it's 10 minutes of quiet with a cup of tea, or saying no to a commitment that drains you. Do it today, each day. Build on this. Create a ritual of silence, even if it's just 5 minutes before bed, to reflect on what felt right and what didn't. Protect this space like a mountain guards its core. When distractions arise, and they will, visualize yourself as that unyielding peak. Let the winds of urgency pass. You don't need to respond to every call. Focus on your path. Watch how this practice over weeks shifts your life into alignment. Relationships ease. Opportunities appear. Harmony isn't magic. It's the result of choosing yourself. Quietly, every day. Here's another tool to wield. When doubt or chaos threatens your balance, commit to silent persistence. Don't announce your goals or defend your journey. Act. Pick one area of your life craving harmony. Perhaps a skill you've neglected or a personal boundary you've let slip. Take one small, silent step toward it. If it's a skill, practice for 10 minutes without telling a soul. If it's a boundary, uphold it without explanation. Keep a private log of these actions, a quiet testament to your growth. Each step is a stone in your mountain, building your strength against the winds of distraction. When you feel the urge to seek validation, stop, return to your inner compass. Ask, Am I doing this for me? This silent persistence aligns your actions with your truth. Over time, you'll see results, subtle at first, then undeniable. Harmony flows from consistency, not fanfare. Stay quiet, stay focused. Let life arrange itself around your steady presence. As we close this exploration of the harmony of alignment, reflect on what you've witnessed. By focusing on yourself and staying silent, you've seen how life's scattered pieces, purpose, peace, relationships, naturally converge into balance, like a mountain enduring endless winds. You've learned to stand firm, letting the chaos of the world pass while you root deeper into your truth. The stories of the approval seeker and the one rebuilding after loss remind us that harmony is not forced. It blooms when you turn inward. The reflections and steps we've shared are your tools to claim this balance, not as a distant dream, but as a daily reality. Our takeaway holds true. Harmony is not a gift bestowed by others, but a state you cultivate through silence and self-focus. As you move forward, carry this strength into the next chapter of your journey, where even greater revelations await. Stand tall, let the winds rage. Your alignment is your power. Stand as the mountain. Your harmony endures.